Okay, we will call to order the August meeting of the City of Florence Design Review Board. We are conducting this meeting via Zoom. I'm President in Council Chambers, and Ms. Bike, Mr. Karsten, and Mr. Collins are attending via Zoom. We currently only have 7 members, so 4 is a quorum. The first matter for business is approval of the minutes. There were the modified minutes from June and the regular minutes from July in your packet. Did anybody have any changes to any of those minutes?
I hate to beat a dead horse. On the minutes from last time, the same issue about the door on the corner of Evans and Irby. It read to replace the original door that it replaced. Well, I didn't mean the one that it last replaced, but the one that was more like the original historical door that was on the building. It was correct on the corrected minutes, but from the first meeting. Do you see what I'm talking? Down approval of minutes. When it was built, you know, historically, I was thinking historically, it would have been a wonderful time to try to replicate somewhat as much as possible the original door, not the replaced door. The replaced door was horrible.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the one it ended up with. I'm talking. It sounded like the one it had before.
The final version. The final version I have says Ms. Bike said she'd rather see the door replaced with one that matched the original. Is that sufficient?
Yeah, that it was correct in the corrected minutes, but then the ones that came out from the last meeting, it said the original door that it replaced. Well, it replaced the modern door.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm talking about? I hate that. As I said, forgive me for beating a dead horse.
I do. Okay.
It's a historic building, and it's on a very historic. You know, we're trying to bring the city back somewhat in its historic, the way it looked historically. So anyway, that's all I'm going to ever say about it again.
Okay. Is that a motion to adopt the revised June minutes and a request to adopt July minutes with the modification, as Ms. Bike just stated, to make her original comments better reflected in the change? Now I can work.
I make a motion we approve the June minutes as amended, as corrected.
Okay. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The first matter before us today is a case that was deferred from June, DRB case number 2020-19. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness for exterior renovations to the building located at 190 North Dargan Street, tax map number 90170-01-020. Property is located in the H1 Historic Overlay District. We'll take staff's report.
All right, just a moment. I'll share the screen.
Yeah, they'll put me in there.
There we go. All right, yes. This is, as you recall, he came back in June and received permission from this board to paint the building and remove a lean-to in the rear and an awning. This is the building at the corner of Baruti Street and North Dargan Street. This is the close-up of it. You can see in this one that it has the little lean-to in the rear that you give permission to remove. And this is the picture on the top is what the building looks like right now. He has not gotten around to removing the awning yet or painting the brick. But that's what he did receive permission for in June. And this month he is coming back with a request to replace, as you can see, the windows and doors are in bad shape. So this month his request is to replace those and to place a new awning with signage on the painted surface once the brick has all been painted one color, because it is different types of brick. So that is the focus of this request this month. As you can see, these are the existing doors, and they're in rough shape, and as are the existing windows. And they are divided light windows, but he is proposing to replace the windows with plate glass windows that are shatterproof, just taking the neighborhood in consideration, and replacing the doors with general, the aluminum storefront doors like are found on a lot of buildings downtown. And then the sign he wants to put up is on a black vinyl awning, and it would be installed over the brick. And the signage, it meets the ordinance for the size and the colors. The material, I spoke to the sign company this morning, and it is a vinyl, there are vinyl covered awnings that are just make a material or fabric awning waterproof and weatherproof. This was described to me as being more like a banner, so more like a vinyl banner. However, Mr. Waiters does qualify for a sign and facade grants, so the city is willing to work with him on that. So those are the improvements he wants to make. Wants to replace the windows and the doors particularly, and then we can still keep working with him on the sign. But that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Do we know if the framing for the windows and doors is sufficiently thick to meet the requirements?
Well, on the doors are, as I did for the Soleil last month, I went and measured, and the standard is about 2 inches like that. So.
Any other questions for staff? All right, we'll open it for public discussion. If anyone on the call would like to speak to this application, please speak up. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and open it for board discussion. Personally, I'm opposed to the awning. I think it violates the requirements for that district. It says no plastic awnings, and awnings should be fabric, so I would be fine referring them to the city to get a grant to get the right kind of awning, but I couldn't vote in favor of that. I don't have any problem with the windows or doors.
I didn't quite understand what she meant, what Leah meant by the covering the fabric with vinyl. Is it going to look like oilcloth, or is it going to look, will it look slick, or will it look like an awning? I don't quite understand that process.
Well, I've looked up vinyl covered awnings, and a lot of them just look like fabric awnings. They just have a vinyl coating to make them weatherproof and make them sturdier. This one, the way the sign company described it to me, is more like a banner, which I'm kind of picturing more like the Securitas sign.
Like a tarp.
The tarp kind of thing, yes. I asked him how durable it was, and he was kind of non-committal.
He said what? I'm sorry.
It's not as durable as we would want an awning to be.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Are y'all okay with the windows and doors?
I'm okay.
Okay. I guess, can we accept the windows and doors and refer them to downtown development for a grant, and does staff then approve the sign after that, or how does that work?
I think it can go either way. You guys can request that it come back to you when he finalizes a plan, a design.
I guess that would be a different application, so he doesn't have to wait the year and all that. Yeah.
Or can you just defer that portion of the request?
Yeah, I mean, I'd hate to have him wait an entire year, but if he was to propose a completely different material and all, we could consider it a different application, either way.
Well, if staff's okay with us deferring the sign, then that's fine
I think that's fine.
with me.
Is the only question the material on the sign?
From staff's standpoint, yes, it's the material that would be used to cover the awning.
Can we approve it contingent upon it meeting the written guidelines?
Sure, I mean, that's the
that's
board's
fine.
decision.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Mhm.
So if he came back and said, we're going to use this design, but we will put it on a fabric awning, that would be,
Are y'all good with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so is there a motion that we accept or approve the application as submitted as to the windows and doors and contingent upon the change of fabric to satisfy the design review guidelines as approved by staff? We approve the signage or the awning. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
I believe Mr. Karsten seconded that.
I did.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next matter before us today is DRB case number 2020-22. This is a request for a certificate of appropriateness to construct a storage building on the lot at 500 South Coit Street, tax map number 90088-06-010. Property is located in the D1 redevelopment overlay district. We'll take staff's report.
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me see if I can get our slideshow started. There we go. Okay, so this is for 500 South Coit Street, Mercy Medicine Free Clinic. Initially, the applicant had a Connex or shipping container that was donated to them. They were running out of space in their main building for medical supplies. So we've been working with the executive director, Mr. Wayne Jackson, who's here today, to work on a solution that would meet the Unified Development Ordinance, as shipping containers do not in that district. So here's the location. It's at the corner of South Coit Street and West Elm. This is where Mercy Medicine Free Clinic is. And then where they want to put the accessory building is just south of that, which is owned by the next door neighbor lawyer's office. But they are going to get permission to place it there. So again, to the south is going to be the location of the accessory building. It is in the redevelopment overlay district, and it is commercial reuse. So here is what the applicant submitted, the site plan, the drawing, the pin drawing is the approximate location of the accessory building where they would like to place it. There is some existing vegetation along the east side of the property, but they have offered to plant wax leaf ligustrums if the board feels that they need more screening as required by the Unified Development Ordinance. So here's the wax leaf ligustrum. I had to look it up. I think I even have this in my yard, but this is what it looks like as a shrub or as a tree. And height and maturity the building is less than 17 feet, so eventually it would be mature enough and high enough to completely screen the metal accessory building. Here, the Unified Development talks about you just need to make sure it's properly screened, that it will be located behind the principal building, at least 150 feet from the street right-of-way. It's a little bit short of being 150 feet from Elm Street, but there's an existing accessory building on the site that it will be parallel with. So there is some precedence for that. And also, And also, if they're 200 square feet or less, which this accessory building is, it just needs to be 10 feet from all setbacks. We talked about the law firm gave us a letter, and they're willing to provide an easement on their property to place the accessory building. And it will need to be 6 feet from the existing accessory building there now. And as I said, it does meet the height requirements. It will be less than 17 feet. So the rub, I guess, is the building itself. Once we do setbacks and all that good stuff, we're looking at about 26 feet from the existing accessory building to the property line. So it's going to get a little tight. So the board would need to, if they so choose, relax the setbacks, maybe down to 3 feet from the McLeod adjacent parcel, which is a parking lot right now. And it's got some overgrowth out there. I'll show you the picture in a sec. It's hard to tell what's kudzu and what are trees. So there may need to be vegetation removed, which may include trees, but it might just be kudzu. And any tree removal would obviously need to come before you guys to be approved. So here's the letter of intent for Orr & Irvin LLC, the law office, letting Mercy Medicine know, hey, if you get this approved, we'll give you an easement to this property. So right now, this is just a letter of intent. And then McLeod, Mr. Wayne Jackson contacted McLeod, and they're okay if the accessory building is closer than 10 feet to their parking lot. So if it gets a little snug, McLeod Health is letting us know that they're okay with that. So here's a typical storage building. This will be a metal building that will be beige. It'll be 16 foot by 20 foot. So, you know, obviously the shingles are the architectural shingles. It will really be a metal roof. And then on the side where it says end elevation typical, they'll have one security door and they'll have one roll-up door. So that's really the only difference in this picture. This is just kind of a typical that he received. Here are the site photos from Coit Street. You can see the law office to the right. Their property is behind the law office. That's where the accessory building will be. It's off-site from Mercy Medicine. This is the view from Elm Street, and here's their Mercy Medicine's rear parking lot. And if you go back into the parking lot, you can see this is the existing accessory building. So on the picture on the left, the Mercy Medicine wants to put a building to the left of that picture, where you see the pickup truck. It will be in the grass. And then the picture on the right, that's the rear view. So as you can see from some of the other pictures I'll show you, you'll see kudzu and tree. Like I said, it's going to be a little tight. I think there's the space, as long as they can fight back the vegetation. So here are some pictures from the McLeod's overflow parking lot. You can see the trees around the existing accessory building. You can see if you have your back towards Irby Street, I mean, it's practically invisible now. So there is existing screening. And there you can just see trees and kudzu. So from a design guideline standpoint, the steel building will be a beige exterior to match the other accessory building that's already on site. The proposed storage building could be removed in the future and not affect the character. It does meet the UDO requirements for 17 feet in height. It will only be 12 feet in height. And I described the doors, and it won't actually be on site at Mercy Medicine, but off site. And the wax leaf ligustrums are available if the board feels it needs further screening. And Mr. Wayne Jackson is here representing Mercy Medicine if we have any additional questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for staff? All right, hearing none, we'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting. I know Mr. Jackson is here. Would you like to speak to the project, sir?
Yes, first of all, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sometimes due to my broadband here, we're Zoom challenged here in the clinic, so I make sure everybody can hear me. But yes, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Johnson and Elena for assisting me in getting this far with this project. They've been just indispensable in helping me put this package together. But essentially, yes, we are in dire need of some storage here at Mercy Medicine. I'm currently having to pay $100 a month to legally store medical records that I'm obligated for 10 years to keep. You know, given that, you know, we would, this building in a certain amount of years would be cost effective for us just in that storage cost that I'm having to incur for the clinic. Otherwise, we really need it for bulk item storage. Very often we have items donated to Mercy Medicine, such as large wheelchairs, walkers, that type of thing that we donate to patients for free, of course, and we just simply have nowhere to put those items now, along with overflow items we have in the clinic, such as, you know, Christmas decorations, that sort of thing. So the solution for us, in order to put this building, in order to meet code and not infringe on our brand new parking lot, would be to obtain the easement from our law firm neighbors, which they've agreed to do, and put this building there. And you know, if the city agrees to this, the only obstacle left for me is to obtain a grant to actually get the building constructed, which I'm cautiously optimistic I'll be able to obtain. So Mr. Johnson described everything else very concisely and accurately. We really need the building. We feel that we can put it in that space, albeit a little bit constricted. We think we can build it in there, given that McLeod Health is willing to waive the 10-foot offset. So your positive consideration is requested for this request. That's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Jackson? Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to speak on this application? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and open it for board discussion. Anybody have any thoughts? To me, it seems fine, as long as they shield it with plants and don't have to take out any trees.
I've got a question. I know we're looking at this 10-foot setback as the variable to be reduced. What do we decide the setback or the distance between buildings is?
It's 6 feet building spacing. So it'll have to be 6 feet from the existing accessory building.
Right. And I guess my question is that not an option to reduce that? If we're going to be modifying setbacks, why are we holding that one to a T and then reducing the 10? I'm all in favor of the building. I think we can figure out how to do it, but I'm a little bit concerned about screening. If it's being screened with kudzu and deciduous trees now, it may look very much screened, but in the wintertime when the kudzu dies back and the deciduous trees lose their leaves, it's not going to have any screening. So I was just trying to see how, I think the ligustrum is a great idea because it's evergreen, but it needs enough room to get mature.
I think you're right about the building spacing. I think we put 6 foot in place. Obviously, you know, 5 foot's the magic number, and then you have to start talking about fire rating. But if you're talking about 2 metal buildings, I mean, it would already have a 2-hour fire rating. So if the building department agrees, those numbers could possibly be relaxed.
I'm just wondering if you end up with, what's our dimension going to be between if we do it the way we're doing it now, the distance between the building and the property line is going to be what?
3 or 4 feet is
So
what
that really is not going to give you enough room for mature ligustrums, I wouldn't think.
It would be very tight, yes, sir.
I'm just trying to look at the variables and see what's the best solution. I know we can get it through, but I just want to figure out what's the best solution.
Is that pretty tight for wax leaf ligustrums, Jerry?
Yeah, yes, very much so.
Okay.
Well, can we allow them to screen it with any plants that are approved, including ones that may not grow as large as ligustrum,
Absolutely, that
to
was good.
help with that problem?
Yeah, we'd be glad to make some recommendations through our office to properly screen it, depending on the dimensions of.
I mean, I know I've got a ligustrum tree that's 3 times the size of the shed it's shielding, so they can get pretty big.
Yes, I've got some in my yard too that slap me in the face when I ride the lawnmower by.
I've got a huge one.
And I know they can be
25 or
maintained,
30 feet tall.
but they can be maintained as screening.
A
They
hedge.
don't have to be allowed to be trees.
That's correct, yes.
It would have to be pruned, but you could keep a nice hedge,
Yeah.
I think.
And something like a U might function, and it's very upright and more narrow, and may function in that space just as well.
Okay. All right, well,
I guess my point is maybe if we could reduce the 6 feet to maybe 4, just enough to be able to walk through there and maintain it, that buys you a couple of more feet, and it might be a better, it might put less pressure on the property line.
I think so too. I think as long as the building official was okay with relaxing those setbacks due to fire safety, I think that could work.
could we, Mr. Collins, in case the building officials do not approve that, could we approve it as submitted with the request that the setback be increased as much as allowed by the building department?
Sure.
All right. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All right, hearing none, I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Oh, yes, I'll second it.
Okay. Spike seconded. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll issue the certificate, Mr. Jackson. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
The last matter before us today is DRB case number 2020-25. This is a request for a certificate of appropriateness for exterior renovations to the house at 500 Graham Street, tax map number 90075-07-012. The property is located in the D4 Timrod Park Overlay District. We'll take staff's report.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, so Mr. Doug Taylor, the applicant, is requesting a porch addition to the rear of his home. He is currently undergoing renovations on the inside and outside. So here we are in the Timrod Park Overlay District, the corner of Graham Street and Chestnut Street. It's just a family home in the NC 6.2 district, so neighborhood conservation. Here's the front of the house. It does need some attention, which it is getting now. Mr. Taylor would like to move in, but the inside of the house is completely gutted, so he's just trying to get it into a livable condition and making this request in the meantime. So here's the rear of the home. He wants to do a porch addition off the back. So basically where the white wood is the laundry room, and he wants to extend that out. I believe it's 9 feet. I have the plans on the next slide. But he wants to have the porch come off the back, and then on the sides he wants to do a veranda, a covered veranda, which I looked up is Portuguese for porch. So I always wonder what a veranda is. And let's see. So here's the site plan. So where we were looking at the white wood, the laundry room, he's extending that out 3 feet by 9 feet, and then he's going to add the screen porch off of that addition. And then on either side, he'll have verandas. and it will all be covered with a single roof. And then off of the porch, he's going to have that 4-foot by 4-foot landing with steps to go off. So the porch will be level with the house, which is on crawl space. The verandas on either side will be ground level. The veranda furthest away from the street will be concrete, and the smaller one on the side will be pavers. And the roof that he wants to use, this is on the side of the house. He wants to mimic this roof in slope and design as close as possible to cover the porch addition and the verandas. He wants to paint the brickwork of the porch addition, the crawl space, and the entirety of the home this monochrome. So it's a Sherman-Williams monochrome color down there at the bottom. It's a very light gray color. So the screen porch and veranda, as far as the design guidelines, he wants to paint everything monochrome. I think in the past, there's the original brick, but then there's also repaired brick that may not exactly match in color and in texture. So he just wants to make it all uniform. And the porch addition will match the north side of the home, and he wants to mimic the roof of the picture that I showed you as close as possible with white color for the trim. The porch addition will be the same level as the rest of the house, and then the verandas will actually be ground level. The house currently does have brick siding, and the addition will have a brick crawl space, and the monochrome will go to tie this all in together. The porch additions, let's see, what have I not covered yet? Oh, the porch landing and stairs will be constructed of wood. So the wood screen porch will sit on top of the brick crawl space. And the wood would also be painted monochrome to match, and trim would be white. Brick pavers on one side of the veranda and concrete on the other. The existing windows they will not be blocked. They'll actually be utilized in the new construction. The addition will not be visible from Graham Street in the front, but it will be visible from Chestnut Street. He does have a fence that is in need of repair, so it will definitely be visible from the street. No landscaping is being proposed. The porch addition is 108 square feet. Add 108 square feet to the home, and the addition will be keeping with the original design of the home as close as possible with available materials. And Mr. Doug Taylor is not here today, but that concludes staff's report.
I think he was on.
Oh, he was? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Mr. Taylor may be here today.
Okay,
for
thank
questions.
you. Okay, before we get to the public hearing, I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding the site plan.
I stared at it for a very long time.
Okay, so is the front of the house changing any?
The front of the house is not changing. This is just the rear of the home. He has that existing, let me get back to the picture. So here's the rear of the home, and the porch addition is going to come straight off of the laundry room.
So this is looking at the house from the back?
From the
this
back,
map.
yes, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. This is the back of the house.
Okay.
And the porch addition will come off the back of the house.
And the verandas will be under this large roof?
Yes, yes. And you can see on the site plan where it says existing windows,
Mhm.
matches up to the window in the picture. So that will be the approximate location of the verandas as compared to the porch, which will be an extension of the laundry room.
Okay. Okay, that's all my questions, thank you. Anybody else have any questions for staff? All right, hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. If anyone is on the call that would like to speak to this application, please speak up.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh, there he is.
Can you hear me? Hey,
And now, yes, sir.
okay, I'm the homeowner and we want to keep the house looking just like it looks or when it was built. So just like Mr. Johnson was saying, the picture y'all have with the A roof with the corbels on it, we're going to do the same thing coming off the back. It will match the rest of the house. I think it'll look very good when it's said and done.
Okay.
And that's all that I have to say. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Taylor? Thank you, sir. We'll close the public hearing and we'll open this for board discussion. Board members, any thoughts on this? All right, hearing none, is there a motion?
What about the landscaping?
There are no landscaping
There's
changes
not.
proposed at this time.
But I didn't see any landscaping.
No, ma'am.
I mean, I didn't see anything.
There won't be any removed and there will not be any added.
Well, y'all, can I say something?
Sure.
Okay. After we get into the house, we will get into the yard. Landscaping, yes, we've always, I'm big on the yard. And we will have landscaping. Our last house had landscaping with landscaping, lighting, and that kind of stuff. We want to make the house look as good as we can make it look because we're going to live there. We're retired and we want to move closer into the city. And that's what we've picked, and that will be our home. And we want to make it pretty.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion that we approve it as submitted with the contingency that all the materials and colors used are compliant with design guidelines?
So moved.
All right, Mike, we'll take that as a motion.
And I'll second it.
I'll second it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
May I say, I just think it's very interesting, and I look forward to seeing the finished product.
Thank you. Come by and drink a cup of coffee with me.
Well, I might do that. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome.
All right, well, there's no other business for us today. The next meeting will be held on September 9th. Thank you, everyone.